Welcome to the Riker Writes Self-Publishing video series, where I guide you from start to finish on how to make a high-quality ebook and print book product for as little money as possible. Today, we are going to cover the procurement of cover art. So, with a book cover, I see it as having two distinct aspects. One of them is art. The other is the graphic design. One of the two of these needs to add the interest that causes the person to grab the book. Both of them need to be good enough to not look amateurish, but you don't need both super good art and a super detailed, busy graphic design, because one of those will detract from the other. If you have great graphic design, go with a simple background image or texture. Personally, I always go the art route. My view on cover art is that an eye-catching, professional-looking cover is important, but one that matches your vision exactly is not important. The cover matching the contents of the book exactly is something that the reader is not going to know anything about. All it needs to do is get their attention, and they need to feel like whatever was hinted at on the cover is fulfilled so that they don't feel ripped off by the book itself. But it's not until they come at it afterwards and they see, oh, I see how this exactly matches the book, that any details that you get from, say, a commissioned cover is going to matter. And by that point, they're long past the point of buying the book and having made their mind up about it. So I think that this is an area where you don't compromise on quality, like as much as you can, get something that is nice looking, but compromise on the exact vision, because the more specific something you require of something, the more likely it is that it's going to cost you. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to look at today are the pre-made covers from the different art stores. I've never used these, but depending on what you write, they could be a very affordable way to get a nice cover. So Book Cover Designer is one I have open here, just because it has a nice looking, like, I don't know, paranormal romance, urban fantasy sort of cover. Here's a nice sci-fi, and here's a pretty nice looking thriller cover. For the most part, although I think that this works pretty well, I would go with either with a silhouette, something where you can't see the face, whether that be because their back is to you, or in this case where they've been decapitated by the top of the frame. When you get one of these, you will send the person who made it. So in this one, this bookcoverdesigner.com seems to have a bunch of different designers coming together under one thing. And so each of these, you'll have to check out what the rights are, what things that they'll change. This person will make custom covers for $90. So if you want to commission a cover, then that would be a good option. But you can get this one for $75. If it's close enough, it saves you a little bit of money, and I believe according to the scan I did of this, you do have exclusive rights to the covers, I think, through all of these different things that I've been looking at, all these different book cover, pre-made book cover services. The biggest thing is not the cost, the $15 difference. It's that you know what this looks like, and you know that it looks good. When you commission something, it's an unknown. Unless you're very familiar with the work that that person does, I wouldn't go that route personally, although you will see that I commissioned an entire series of book art. I think that that's a lot different from a cover. Covers are going to usually look, a commissioned cover is going to be made with generic stock art. It is not going to look as specific. It is going to have a stock look, which can look professional. So I'm not saying anything negative about that. You are going to see often, if it has a really nice art, you are going to see that art on other book covers. That's just a reality. The cover is exclusive, but the images are not. They're taking these images from someplace. Like this Viking warrior here, I'm I'm guessing that you will see that on other book covers. So this is the book cover zone, and it seems like you can usually get one of these for under $100. They often have an option where they will give you the ebook cover for the $100, and then it might be a little bit less than on top of that to provide the cover for the book. I personally don't think that you need to do that. They can probably do a nice job of it, but what I do is, so I take it and I just, like on this one, I mirrored the art, but then cut most of it off with this panel. This one, I wrap around the top art and then don't wrap around the bottom, and then put the text there. You can, here's one where it is, all I do is the same image on the back, but I cover the majority of it with a plane that then I put the blurb on. I don't think that you need to have a special back. It's not the part that catches the eye. It's not like when people turn to the back of the book, if this is in a bookstore, then they are looking for the blurb. And as long as it's not the back of the book is not jarringly bad, then I don't think you need to worry a lot about it. So in my mind, you can get away with just buying the ebook cover and then making the rest of it yourself. Although you would need to know the fonts if you want to be able to carry that over like to the spine. Here is another rocking book covers. Yeah, just again, you can see the stock photo, I think on this from Dead On looks, personally, I think it looks a little cheesy. Like I think this one looks better just by keeping the head out. This one looks better by being the silhouette. This, I noticed, this site seems to have some really high level design, like the graphic design work on the text and the, like, I don't know what the adornment art, as opposed to like a main figure art. It has very affordable prices. When I see art that looks like some of this, and this is something that I'm going to talk about across the board, I wonder about AI. I don't know which of these require that the people who make the covers disclose if they used AI art. I know that if you go with the next option that I'm going to present, which is stock art, that it is going to be an issue. So I'm just going to put the disclaimer here that AI may get you in trouble in the future, just in that if AI art is detectable and enough people raise a ruckus, then it is going to be, they're probably going to put a tag on books in the future that use AI. And there's such a huge difference between using an AI image and using AI generated content, that to be marked with the brand of an AI work where they're not distinguishing between the two is a pretty heavy price to pay for a book cover. So I would advise avoiding AI art. I like to support artists anyway, so it's easy enough for me to do that in the first place. Okay, so the next route that we're going to look at is to actually just find stock art that is good enough that it carries the cover. And this is by far the cheapest way to go. So I use deposit photos. The reason I use that is because I used to use a lot of images, and you could get a package where they're $1 a piece. And I still think you can if you buy 100 of them. That's crazy. Now, what you will then find are deposit photos. It does not require, I don't believe, any sort of disclosure that AI was used. And so you're going to have to decide that for yourself. So what I looked for is Monster here. And you can see some art that can definitely carry a cover. That means that you can use simple, you can just use a couple of very nice fonts for the title and your name, and maybe a transparent plane or two, or some drop shadows, and like that's it. like that's the work, because the image is good enough that having a very ornamental graphic design style would actually detract from it. So it makes it look pro if you just have a couple of sleek looking elements. So I clicked on this person because these images are insane. Now, you are not going to get these exclusive. In the same way that the stock art on those covers is not exclusive, you will not get exclusive rights to these. So if the image is good enough, then you will see them on other book covers. The other reason I have this person on here is that it says a digital art style image. So here, like, says digital art style illustration painting. I don't know. I can't say that these were not painted, but there are so many very, very high quality images that it makes me question it. And that gets into the AI question. I'm not making any accusations or allegations here. I'm just saying that when you see images like this, that it gives me pause. But you can, I mean, can you imagine, like, if this person is making these and they have so many that it's unlikely that you're going to see them on very many other book covers, just because there's so many to choose from that even if people find it, they're unlikely to select the same image. These images are fantastic. If this is AI, the person is very good at making prompts or very good at tweaking what comes out. Any one of these could be a cover. You just put a simple font, 2 of them on it, one, like I said, one for title and one for your name, and you're good to go. And you've got a cover for $1. Now, I made these before AI art was possible, but I'm going to show you this one. Now, this had, I believe, 2 free stock cover or stock art images. This is the second book in a series, and I wanted to make something that kind of matched that, and I wasn't as concerned about the image because people reading this already know what the book is about. I'll show you the other cover later, but I don't want to spoiler any of the other sources. So this was made with 2 free ones. It's also used with the Bleeding Cowboy font, which I now have seen in like literally hundreds of other places, and I would advise that you avoid it. But super cheap cover that I think looks pretty nice. I've gotten better since this time. This was well over a decade ago. Still haven't replaced it because I think it does the job well enough. Like, most people are seeing it as a thumbnail on Amazon, where I think it does look pretty solid. And also, man, I do not want to mess anything up on CreateSpace, so I tend to not tweak those later on. Okay, so the next place that I'm going to point you to for stock art, but which will probably be much less used, if you are a speculative artist, a great place to go is Drive-Thru RPG. So RPG books are hundreds of pages long and often will have 100 pieces of art throughout. They will have full page art. They will have little pieces of spot art, like you'll see here. They'll have full page art, like you'll see here and here and here. And they need to be priced affordably. So you can get this art for very good prices, and this is art which can carry a cover for sure. And the other thing is, I'm no expert in fantasy or sci-fi self-publishing realms, but I don't know that very many authors realize that this resource exists. These artists, I think, primarily, almost entirely sell to people who make RPGs rather than people who make novels. So you might be able to get a nice cover with like really good detail for $5, $12. You'll need to look at the license of all these. So here, Dean Spencer, he's one of the best. And you can go and you can look at his license. It says you basically can't adapt it. So you can't change the color. You also can't sell a book full of his art. I believe that you can use it for a cover image for the same price as you could use it for an internal image, but you need to check that on these as well. So an artist that is close to my heart just because I love his art style and because I commissioned covers from him is Warclaw is what he goes by. He's check. So here is his portfolio site. He makes stuff, a lot of art for Merc Borg. So it's this grimdark, but also really stylized images. He does death metal and black metal albums also. So you can go to his site. Here's just some of the stuff that he's done where you can see album covers and posters. And so I was going to his site in order to just purchase the rights. So this is one where it's art where you get the exclusive rights to it for $90. And then you can also get the original art. So I love having the original art for the books that I am putting out this year, the reprints. But the thing is that most of his stuff is like a dark fantasy, but I can see the horror in it. I decided that I was going to see what he could do in a more contemporary horror while maintaining his style. I really love the old painted paperback covers, and while I didn't want to go retro and try to make something that looked like that, I did want to bring that painted original art aesthetic to my own series, and I commissioned like 9 images from him. So he's accustomed to making, first of all, like I said, RPG art is often cheaper. He's also, because he's from the Czech Republic, due to the difference in the currency and the difference in cost of things, it made it very affordable. So I actually commissioned an entire series of paintings, just giving him a description of like what the books were about and my idea for the covers. And I think that, I mean, I'm super, super happy with them. So this is the book, and this is the original painting. These paintings got lost at the post office for a while, which was very stressful because these are the actual originals. There's no way I can get them back. So let me show you kind of a little story from one book. So I'll show you in the Shadows of Children. So this was what the Dark Fuse, the publisher that is out of business, that was the cover that they made. And this is the one that I decided on. I wanted to have the boogeyman aspect of it explicit. It's hard to do that with stock images. This is a stock image style cover, and this is my commissioned art cover. And you can see that I went very simple on the graphic design for this because I feel like the image carries it. And this has more going on in the graphic design because the image isn't enough to carry it. You need to have one of the two, and the other one needs to be of a good enough quality that it doesn't set off alarms. So the book that I'm going to work on this series with you is called The Horde. It is, I think, my best book, although it is the one that hit #2 in horror at Amazon. I didn't like what I was asked to do with the ending, so I'm re-releasing it with the original ending as I wrote it, which I'm very happy to get out there because my original ending is how I feel that horror should be, where you can overcome things through love and sacrifice. So this was the original cover for it, for the hardcover. Really like this cover. It's by Daniel Serra. You can see it's a wraparound. So it shows all the elements that are very specific to the book itself, which if you commission art, you can do. And like I said, I know that I told you I warned a little bit away from commissioning. I do think there's a difference between commissioning a cover made of stock art and commissioning a cover and commissioning original art to then turn into a cover. For me, you have to make up your own mind about that. So this, when they put out the paperback, they went with the stock art style cover. I don't think that, I mean, it's pretty generic, but it sold well, so maybe I'm wrong. But I knew that I wanted to go with back to the painted art with details pertinent to the story. And this, like, after somebody reads it, they will know why there are blood red centipedes, and it's a scene with zombie-ish looking things in a junkyard. I love this, and it is all mine, which makes me very, very happy. I also am happy to support a really talented artist with a family that he's supporting solely through his art at Warclaw. And I would encourage anybody who has a darker style to consider checking out his stuff. Okay, so the last route that I am going to advise is to find original art that exists that is by people who are um, not necessarily professionals, but are making some things of professional quality. Because you're buying it by the image instead of commissioning it, you don't have to worry as much about their track record. You can literally see on the screen what you're going to get. So DeviantArt, I know that things have really changed since I got art from here. You'll find a bunch of AI stuff. They are allowing their entire catalog to be fed to AI, is the latest thing that I read as of just a couple days ago. So that's a problem. Especially because they didn't ask the artist commission, or they didn't ask the artist permission. That's why it's in my mind, a definite problem, regardless of what your opinion on AI art is. You can search for anything. So let's say that I write quite a few boogeyman stories. They aren't necessarily always coming out from under the bed or the closet, but I write a lot of boogeyman style stories. So I just searched up closet monster, and here we can see art around closet monster, and I can kind of decide without commissioning, hey, does this exactly match my vision? Is this my idea of a boogeyman? I mean, this is a really good image. It's in the wrong orientation. But now let's say this was done by a student. So what I did is I would approach them through this. Now, sometimes their account's no longer active and the message never gets to them. So I did miss out on some cover images that I thought would be really good. But I was successful with quite a few. I really think that this image is great. I got a little bit busier with the graphic design. For the most part, I'm happy with it. I'm not really happy with the frame, but that's not present on the ebook. This is a combination of free stock art, which will never be used in this context. I don't think that you will ever find these cows standing in a pasture on any other horror book. And Justin Critch is the person who made this. And I believe that I contacted him through DeviantArt. And so I then had a friend of mine who was good at graphic design at the time. I hadn't taken that on yet myself. Put these together with some different fonts. I would go with a different font today, but it's a striking image, and it was a lot different than the stuff that was getting self-published at the time. There weren't the pre-made book cover services, and so when that came out, it got a lot of people's attention. I think that there may be other art websites now, maybe that are better than DeviantArt. I actually think that it's a bonus that you don't have, that this isn't all professionals. It allows you to find someone who made the exact image that you want, that you can get for a price that is, they aren't expecting to make any money. So what you do is you contact them, you say, can I get the exclusive book cover rights to this image? And there you go. You have yourself an exclusive cover for a small amount of money. Now, something DeviantArt has added that I haven't looked into, they've added since I was using them to get cover images, is this DeviantArt.com shop. So there you can go and you can find art, and you can, like this one, it says make an offer starting at $25. Now here's the thing. This is clearly AI art, but it says created using AI tools. So you do have that to let you know whether the art is AI or not. And it looks to me like you can get the majority of this stuff for $100 or less. Now, how much of it is AI generated? I don't know. I haven't used this. But yeah, this is a way to get a truly exclusive cover that will require minimal graphic design skills from you for a very reasonable price. Okay, so that's it on how to get a cover image for your book. Presented you with several options where you can go from stock, that you will see on other books, to original art that you can get exclusive rights to, and kind of a range of things in between. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's shown you that you can get either a high quality cover or something to make a high quality cover with for like $100 or less, at least that's at the time of this recording. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to take an image if you've gone the route where you're not buying the whole cover, and how to add the necessary elements, do the graphic design of it in free software. I will be using GIMP and something called Nexus Fonts, which is a font manager. And I'll show you some websites that you can get fonts from. So that is it from me. Have a great day.